while, you come across something that blows your mind away. You are left completely at wonder and awe. What I'm about to show you today is one of those things. For me, at least, it might not be as amazing and otherworldly for you, but for me, this has stunned the living daylights out of me. What you're about to see is not a creation of man. And I know that people don't like videos that hype things that turn out to be fake or at the very least extremely underwhelming. But I do promise you that this is neither fake nor underwhelming. This is sand. You can see there are pebbles of little rocks of different origination on the sand. What I'm walking on right now is a riverbed, a seasonal, occasional river that flows and wanes at will and at the whim of the weather. But if you look, you see a lot of footprints, and this is important because I want you to remember that, because in a few minutes I will remind you of that fact. So there are a lot of footprints on the sand. Obviously, people have been walking, yeah, and generally, a lot of time, these will be blown over by the wind and covered. Um, Obviously, as you can see, this is a sand dune, and this is not in the Middle East. This is not Dubai. This is southern Colorado, and this is the Great Sand Dunes National Park. It is part of a nature preserve that includes hundreds, possibly thousands of acres of land that are protected and, for the most part, free to visit and enjoy. The highest point on this mammoth of sand is north of 200 meters. I am reliably informed. I have no proof if that's true or not, but climbing onto this sand dune takes hours. I have been going at it for a couple of hours already, and I am not even a third or a fourth of the way to the midpoint or the center of the um, set of dunes that comprise this giant set piece of nature. As you can probably tell, there are a lot of peaks, a lot of troughs, a lot of valleys. I'm not sure exactly where the highest point is, but the farther you go from the beginning, remember the footsteps that I showed you not too long ago? What you're looking at right now has absolutely no footprints because it's very high from the ground. A lot of people don't get to go up there, and those who do are seasoned hikers and possibly climbers. But you can see how extremely smooth and even it is up here. There is very few signs of human habitation. You can, with the permit, climb all the way up here and spend the night. You can camp here for a night, 2 nights. I don't know exactly how long one permit lasts, but I would imagine that would be quite something. This is a human playground, catering to all ages, shapes, and sizes. You need not be extremely fit. You don't have to climb all the way to the top. In fact, there is much more fun down at the riverbed where there are rocks and water and all sorts of other little tidbits of fun things to do. The most interesting thing about this sand dune is that from a distance it looks small, but once you start climbing, it just keeps getting higher and higher and higher and higher, and you never quite get to the top, unless, of course, you're one of those few people who've gotten all the way to the peak. I did not get to the peak on this particular day because I got exhausted and I did start thinking about getting back because if you hike for 4, 5, 6 hours, you're going to need about the same amount of time to get back to the beginning, unless you're going to sleep up here in the dune, which is probably not the most advisable thing if you didn't bring tent or any other preparatory material for camping up here. Landscapes up here are stunning. I imagine that those who will eventually get to Mars or any of the other planets that humans from Earth hope to be able to colonize at some point in the future when we start living beyond the fantasy of interplanetary travel. I imagine that the landscapes will probably maybe look something similar to these because they've been swept by the wind for millions of years, hundreds of thousands of years. I don't know how many years these planets have existed. But the point is, when there is little or no human habitation, the shapes that nature creates are stunning. You just look at them and you're mesmerized. You want to sit down and watch for hours on end. Add to that the fact that there's a very breezy wind that blows up here on top of the dune with a very otherworldly sound, and you kind of have to sit down for a minute. It's extremely peaceful. It's um, kind of place you want to sit down and do nothing. The only problem is that there are small, tiny pebbles of sand that like to assault your eyes, and if you open your mouth without even knowing, eventually you're going to feel tiny pieces of sand on your teeth. It's rather disconcerting and uncomfortable. I must get back to the bottom because it's been a minute and it's time to go. If you get a chance, an opportunity to come and visit the dunes of Colorado, you're going to love it.